Black Lightning, episode 11, Black Jesus, the Book of Crucifixion. So this is definitely an awesome episode. Definitely had some funny moments, particularly, of course, the old white lady on the news. That was the funniest thing to me. But all in all, I definitely enjoyed this episode. Of course, we have Pierce being, framed for selling green light at the school. He gets arrested, and so it's like, all right, well, how in the world do we save Pierce? How, what's going to happen to him? Which, of course, was going to be, he's going to be taken to a black site. They'll prove he's Black Lightning, and once that happens, he'll be dead. And so we have this whole debacle where it's like, all right, how in the world do we save him? Do we go the legal route? They kind of have to. How do we play the people to make them believe that he's not Black Lightning? A lot of different processes for them to figure out what to do in order to save his life. Because, of course, if he just breaks out, it's like, oh, well, he's Black Lightning. Both his daughters, I actually really enjoyed that, especially with Anissa when she was about to do something to that cop, and Pierce is like, stop, I already had to tell your sister not to go crazy with the lightning powers. I can't, you have pushing this dude 50 feet in front of everybody, with your bare hands. So that was definitely a funny scene because she was about to just destroy him, but of course he gets picked up and they do the whole thing where it's like, oh well, he found these drugs, and then of course his buddy, who's basically his next door neighbor, is like, I know he's not selling green light at the school. Like, we know that's not happening. Pierce won't tell him everything because, of course, he can't say I'm Black Lightning. So he has to go through the process of, I know something's going on because for, whatever weird reason they set you up. And now, the NSA is coming after you. He even says, are you some sort of spy or something? It's like, no, I'm not a spy. But I can't exactly, go into the details. So it's like, all right, he knows something crazy is going on. So he realizes that not his captain, but the guy that was working with the captain was like, oh, suddenly came into a ton of money. You got a bunch of stuff. Your son has this place, all paid in cash, of course. And fortunately for you, I don't want you. I don't care about you. I want to take down our corrupt captain. So I thought that was cool. He actually does end up rising from inspector to captain. And I don't know if he's toast. I mean, we've seen quite a few people. Clearly, it wasn't just the captain. We've seen quite a few people kind of, taken from a very specific hand. So it's like, I don't know if he's, he did the right thing, obviously, but I don't know if that means he's going to really make it through this season. And we have 2 episodes left now, so that kind of surprised me. But, we're almost at the end of the season. So we'll see how it plays out with his character. I assume since we're only 2 episodes away, my hope is that they don't just kill him in the last 2. It would be shocking because we've gone through the whole first season. We haven't really lost anybody. Even the one villain character we thought died actually came back to life. And, Lady Eve is the only big character that's officially been killed, and even she wasn't that big of a character. She's important, but it's not like she admittedly did that much. She knew some stuff, but she didn't really play the giant role that she has after her death, really being the catalyst to set things off for everyone to search for Black Lightning. So they haven't really kind of killed anybody, and it's like, all right, well, they got the one villain who wasn't super important, and then you have the one hero character who admittedly, this was probably his most important episode, was this, and when he helped, technically when he helped Pierce when he shot the guy that was about to hit Pierce in the back. So it's those were his 2 biggest moments. So I don't think they'll kill him in the last 2. I would hope not, just because it's that would just suck. Plus they just made him captain. We're going to the last 2. If this was if this was episode 3, I'd be like, okay, well, he just made it to captain in the beginning of the season. Sure, he could probably die. It seems like an absolute waste to make him captain in the last 3 episodes and then kill him in one of the next 2. So I highly doubt he'll be killed, but definitely putting himself in a tough position. Obviously, Tobias Church is coming back in the next episode, so that should be exciting. That's what I've been waiting for, is him interacting with Lala, which I believe was in the promo where he's choking him. So curious how that's going to play out, but definitely a fun episode. Pierce, by the end at least, is kind of, in a sense, able to reconcile with Gambi, and they have their whole deal where Anissa goes out and she has those little hologram and stuff, which I thought was cool. And one thing that they did, and this is a technological thing, it kind of annoyed me, but when she has the projector first going, she's like, wow, that's cool, and so she runs her fingers across it, and it's all right, it can distort the image. And so I'm like, well, that's a terrible position for the projector then, because when you run, naturally your hands are gonna, at least your elbow, something's gonna get there, your elbows basically go past your waist when you run. And I was like, well, that's a terrible placement. But of course, everything worked out perfectly, and they do the automated truck and everything, and they have like the Black Lightning and stuff. Fortunately, she didn't totally kill that person that was in the car that was coming towards her. I thought that was the funniest thing. I was like, well, couldn't she have just like run over a little bit? Like it would have been weird because he would have, she would have had to balance it out because that's why they needed the wide street because otherwise he would have been like, run into a pole or something like that. But I was like, that's interesting. Like she, does the clap and, of course it was TV, so the thing does like a freaking Grand Theft Auto, like you were playing the video game, it does like a full 180 and turns into a parking spot. And I was like, okay, that was perfect. Everything naturally works out and everyone's like, oh, it's Black Lightning and Thunder and everything. So I was like, all right, they're able to figure all that stuff out. We have whatever's going on with the vice principal. They've kind of shown it in this episode. Like I was curious how they were gonna play it, but they made it really clear. Like she is the character that will do her job, but she doesn't want any of the innocent people to die. So she was like super worried about Pierce. It was like, oh, he's not Black Lightning. Permission to have him transferred and kind of get him out of prison. He's like, you're just supposed to monitor, like just do your job. And she was like upset by that. And it's like, okay, they're kind of already playing it where she is the villain character who's kind of caught right in the middle. She's almost been turned a little because she's been around all these kids. She's been with Pierce. Clearly she has feelings for him. That was kind of, like the first two episodes, they made that fairly obvious. So maybe that's all there is to it, is just her feelings for him. But when she kind of gets the facts, because she didn't believe, it's like, this dude isn't, Black Lightning. So maybe when she gets the facts, that'll change. And especially considering they're fighting at the school, I don't know, where in the world that comes from, but for whatever reason, Tobias is fighting Black Lightning at the school in the next episode. So maybe she'll get like an official clue, like, oh crap, this is really him. Because of course he doesn't know that she's one of the bad guys, so he might do something while saving her, and she's like, oh crap, that's definitely Pierce. So I don't know what to expect from that, but it's like she's clearly the villain that's kind of caught right in the middle, where she's one of the bad guys, but she's just good enough to care. And it's like, okay, well, let's see how that plays out, because I am curious if she knows for a fact that he's Black Lightning, will she just be like, okay, full on mission, I don't care how much I've known him. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for, is like the other shoe to drop once she learns the truth 100%. Will she be 100% on board, or will she still be like, crap, I care about this guy because I've worked next to him for years now. Do I still care about him as a friend, or am I going to go with the mission that I was put here to do? So waiting for that. We probably won't even get that this season, with her even, finding out the truth. But that's just something I'm looking forward to. But all in all, definitely a fun episode. I like how, they went through the process of just, Pierce like going to jail and all the crap he had to go through. And it's just like cops beating him up, putting the finger in his butt and everything. Apparently that triggers his powers. It's just like, oh man, just going through the process and him getting beat up. I like the music. That's one thing that I would like to note. I enjoyed the music for this episode because they always play like their actual themes, and they play like different songs. And I was like, I actually like these songs because I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of like the opening theme song like with Black Lightning, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Thunder's theme either. Like it's the same person doing the song, and it's just like, I don't know, they just don't sound that good to me. It's basically like they just rhyme, but they have like no rhythm. There's rhyme without any rhythm to it, and it's just like it's kind of rapping, but not really, because it's more like he's just talking, but it's supposed to be like rapping and stuff. And it was the same when they like first introduced Thunder like in her actual costume. And I was like, okay, like I kind of liked it a little bit more, but it was the same. It was like they kind of just pick words to use, and they kind of rhyme, but I was like, those songs don't really sound that great to me. That's just my personal opinion. I've never been like the biggest fan of like the Black Lightning theme song. But that's, like I said, that's totally just me. But in this episode, I was like, oh, they chose like actual music and stuff like that. And some of that stuff may have been because it's songs I hadn't really. I think one song I was for sure familiar with, and the other one sounded familiar. So it could have been something that they legitimately chose, or it was just sounded like something else. But either way, I was like, oh, I actually like the music in this. It was something that just I really noticed. I was like, I like the music in this episode, because I just kept thinking like, sometimes they'll play the theme song while they're fighting and stuff like that, and they'll just play different parts of the main theme. And I'll just be like, yep, it kind of just sounds like he's sort of rapping, but mostly he's just talking, and they just got the beat in the background. And I just never really liked it. So I was like, oh, I like the music. So that's just, like I said, a personal thing. I just wanted to talk about that for a minute, because just since the very beginning, I've just been like, I'm just not the biggest fan of the theme song, and I'm glad it's like super short. But yeah, definitely a fun episode. Like I said, going into the last two, which admittedly I'm surprised by, but it does make sense. It's the first season. It's not going to be typically, they don't hit like the 20 mark in the first season. So I was kind of surprised. I was like, crap, we're almost at the end of the first season. Definitely looking forward to Black Lightning versus Tobias. I'm curious if they'll actually kill him off. I doubt it, But that would be something. I don't think they will, especially because I feel like even at this point, we don't have enough tension between the two. Well, there's tension, but not interaction wise. We haven't seen enough interaction, I feel, in the series for them to actually get rid of Tobias. So I'm hoping he sticks around. I like his character in general anyway, so I want to see more of him. And personally, even though Lala has like a crazy story now with him like being dead and somebody brought him back to life, we still don't really know any of that stuff. Even with that, I'm still more interested in seeing like what happens with Tobias because he's just a crazy character. Plus, they give him the most ridiculous lines in the show, so like I kind of need him to stick around because he just says ridiculously like black people hate black people stuff, and it makes me laugh so much. So that's like kind of why I love his character because he just says stuff and he's like, he just hates other black people. It's just funny. But definitely looking forward to these next two episodes. But of course, we'll love to know what you guys thought about this one. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And based on the promo with Tobias coming back and just whatever that means for Lala and however they end up fighting in the school, I would love to know your predictions for how this next episode is going to end up playing out. What we're gonna see, what you want to see. Because for me, at this point, based on the promo, I am most excited to see Black Lightning versus Tobias officially, because the last time it was like, Tobias basically just ran, but this time he's like charging at him in the hallway. So it's like, okay, them going head to head is what I want to see the most. But I'm really curious how the whole Lala thing is gonna play out. So we'll love to know your predictions on that, what you guys just want to see from it in general. And of course, like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.